All right, welcome back to Midlife Spiritual Uprising. And today we have another special guest, Whitney Freya. She is a friend of mine and a new friend of mine, but a friend of mine. And I am incredibly excited to hear where she is in this midlife spiritual uprising and what she is doing in her work currently. So let me go ahead and share with you a little bit about Whitney. Whitney Freya has been a trailblazer in the soul art orbit since 1996. She has published 4 books on new paradigm creativity. Her latest is 30 Days to Unstoppable, Be the Dream Made Visible. Her online certification training has created 500 plus creatively fit coaches worldwide, a community united in their commitment to awakening the creative spirits within as many people as possible. She hosts in-person retreats and trainings for women entrepreneurs, including her Women's Synergy Collective. All right, Whitney, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Of course, Beth. I'm very excited about this conversation.
I know, it's fun. We're both in that age of the midlife. So we dive in. We were talking before we recorded, and where you're focusing on right now is helping women, men or women, but mostly women, get past the overbusy mind and the overthinking and the overanalyzing and get into their heart. So can you speak into that?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at our modern Western society, at least, across the board, the imbalance is a imbalance between the mind and the heart. It's the logical, rational, the age of reason, from whatever that was, 1500s or something. The age of reason has become completely unreasonable. Like, it is too much to try and figure out and process from a logical, linear perspective what life is like on this planet right now. It's crazy making, literally. Like, we have a mental crisis. I have a brother who's going through this, so I'm just a little tuned in to the over logical, trying to make sense, and it should go this way, and trying to control life. It's not a logical experience. Life is not a logical experience. And so for me, the painting practice is all about bringing us into balance. Like, we need the logical, rational, linear part of ourselves. It's what gets us clicking the right link at the right time and staying on the right side of the road and paying the bills and all those things. And it's never been meant to steer the ship. Never, ever, ever. Like, your logical, rational mind is meant to be your project manager, your personal assistant, taking cues from your heart. Where are you being called? What is lighting you up? Where do you feel that passion and energy? And that signal is a divine signal to encourage you to keep going that direction, right? Which makes so much sense. Like, if you were going to, create a species that their survival and thriving depended on following the heart, you would reward them with joy when they're tapped into that frequency that is in alignment with the path they're meant to take. So what happens is, we've been taught since we were little that when you get the dream, the crazy idea, right? To check in with that logical, rational mind. Can I do this? Right? And the logical, rational mind, because it's meant to be the project manager, like, it's literally like asking a project manager to become the CEO, the visionary of a company. Completely two different personalities. So when you ask your logical, rational mind, which is literally physiologically programmed to resist change, it pulls from your past to project into the future. It's not present. When you ask it, can I do this brand new thing that has me super excited? The way I imagine it in my head is like, it rolls its eyes and it's like, really? You're still asking me these questions? Because you have a whole other, heart, right brain, intuitive, present moment self that's meant to ask these questions to. But if you're going to ask my advice, all I can tell you is, if there's any risk of losing money, time, making a mistake, looking silly, not being perfect, not being the expert, the answer is no. And so what happens, and a lot of us, I mean, I know I've experienced this, and I'm sure you listening can be like, yep, yep, yep. Like you get the wild hair, something you hear about or see lights you up, and you're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to go there. I want to buy that. I want to experience that. And then within hours, minutes, days, all of a sudden, there are all these other things that have become more important. Like all of a sudden, you got to clean under the bed, or like make cookies or, start some other business or whatever. That's your mind protecting you, keeping you in the known. So while you also consciously want change, I want to feel different. I want to be more myself. I want to explore more. I want to be more courageous. I want to dot, dot, dot. If it's something that you haven't been doing up until now, if you're tapped in predominantly to that logical, rational mind, you're going to get stuck and you're going to feel stuck and you're going to feel frustrated. And that's just physiologically how our internal world works. So what I love to do with my painting practice, that is literally just like taking the vitamin C to get over the cold. Like it's not about the vitamin C, it's about getting over the cold, right? The painting practice is to nurture and like send energy into your heart, which art is in the word heart, people. So like keep that in mind. It is all about like boosting that energy, the neural pathways literally in your mind that correspond with the part of you that's comfortable with change, that isn't going to allow something that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago to stop you from doing something that you want to do right now. But without that present moment creative awareness, without the understanding and really integrating that quote that we've all heard, that the mind makes a terrible master but a wonderful servant, right? Like the heart is meant to lead.
Mm-hmm.
Heart is meant to lead. And we've just forgotten that. And so I'm having so much fun for the last 28 years now, helping create a easy, accessible, fun practice that people can do at home without trying to be perfect, without trying to be like perfect painting technique, that is simply going to infuse their inner world with this new creative confidence and courage. And that, when I opened my art center in Nashville, I had a brick and mortar in Nashville, Tennessee that I opened in 96, never having painted on a canvas. Well, I did when I was 9. I painted on a canvas.
You
And
did
I opened
painting?
Yeah, no, I'd never painted on a canvas. I had before I opened, I had people suggest. Apparently there was this whole circle in Nashville that was like, who in the world is this 26-year-old with no art background coming in opening an art center? Like I was not popular apparently. And someone kind of snidely suggested that maybe I should paint if I'm going to open an art center. And I was, my logical, rational mind was like, well, they have a point, right? So I literally went to the art store, and this cracks me up because I have people do this all the time. I went to the art store and I bought an easel, and then I bought a big pad of paper and oil pastels. So I was still afraid to buy the canvas and the paints and all that, but I got the easel because I think that makes us feel like an artist. Like I have people all the time be like, what easel do I need? I need an easel. I got a table easel. I'm like, you'll never see me paint on an easel. Like, I don't know where you're getting an easel. Like I'm wall or table. I really like table.
It's
Anyway,
symbolic.
it's symbolic. It really is. It makes you feel like an artist. So I painted just with the oil pastels, copied from a impressionist art book because I was like, I can't draw. So, but I've always loved color. So I just ended up smushing oil pastels around, and someone actually bought it, and someone commented I had it hanging from clothespins on a string in the art center. And this woman said, this really speaks to me. And my background, after I graduated from college, I sold bookstore to door. So that's how I was like courageous enough to open an art center with no art experience. And so my salesperson kicked in. I'm like, well, I'm just going to get more expensive, $50. And she bought it. She was my first art sale. And then I was like, well, shit, damn, if people are going to pay me money, like I was broke at that point. The art center was like just making ends meet. And so I started doing watercolors and printmaking and all this stuff. And anyway, so I love this creative journey, this reclamation of our creative selves. And I know, Beth, in your world and the things you read and speak about, like we're here to be creators,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're here to remember how powerfully we create our reality. I mean, that's the whole the whole deal. And so I feel like this, midlife threshold is one where we finally know ourselves, at least better than
Better.
we did maybe in our 20s or whatever. And there's a call to reevaluate some things, right? And I went through this. I mean, I got divorced in 2012. I was like the poster child for 2012. And I had lots of like midlife crisis being thrown at me. And I'm like, I'm calling it a midlife awakening, like a midlife. Now that I know myself, I'm going to make decisions from that place. It's a powerful time. And of course, the culture has labeled it in this kind of negative way because there are a lot of people that aren't going to have the courage or the heart to make the changes that they want. And that's fine. There's no judgment there. But if you're here watching this, trust me, like it is a really, really good thing to reevaluate where you are and to start paying attention to these subtle, intuitive, unexplainable, coincidental, synchronistic things that are happening in your life because they are leading you into a new place where you are going to be able to honor more of who you are and more of what you desire to experience because our time in this body is limited. And I mean, I'm 53. I'm very aware of like checking the things off the list, like if not now, when? There's no like, oh, I'll do that someday. Like the someday is now. And I want to follow my heart and let my mind gather up the information I need. So yeah, that's why I paint. Nothing to do with hanging the pretty picture on the wall, which I end up with pretty pictures on the wall that are so loaded with symbolism. Like I teach this layering, like you're putting mantras and numerology and symbols in the first layers, and then you're painting over it. You're literally like creating this energy like beacon
Yeah.
that is going to, in your space, literally continue to pump out the energy of the fruition of the desire that you painted into the painting. Like that's in a super tiny nutshell. That's the process, and it changes everything. Changes everything.
Yeah. Well, you said a lot there. I posted this question yesterday and it said if you were not if you knew you could not fail, what would you do? And
Yeah.
all of these things came through. I would do this and this and this. And it's like, well, interesting how the mindset, well, why aren't you, it's like, why aren't you doing those things now? So how
Mm-hmm.
do you, and that's the mind here, what you were talking about, the analyzer, the mind. So with the painting, if let's say someone's watching this and they're like, I just can't get past the fact that I'm not good. I judge my painting and it actually puts me in my head even more,
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
would you say to that person?
So the way I start all my paintings, and I teach the way to start all the paintings, is literally just to play with the color, drip, spill, stencil, whatever. Just like play with paint, make a mess on the canvas, get rid of that blank canvas. Most of the people I talk to over the years, they'll say, I just don't even know where to start. And I'm like, oh, that's what I love the most, just starting. I have clients that will have first layers on their canvases for a long time before they're ready to start opening up to actually creating a visible thing. And it's not so much even about painting abstract. It's literally just to kind of open up, warm up, get to a place where, and here's what happens, and it's different for everybody. But at some point, you keep painting, painting, painting on the same canvas. So I'm using acrylic. It dries quickly. It layers easily. It's so much fun. You can paint on the same canvas like 50 billion times. I have a canvas in my kitchen. I could show it to you guys. That's been like 20 different paintings. We just keep painting over and over and over it. And so at some point, you become present and like love that little square where all those colors come together. And then you'll see like, oh, there's an elephant, there's a flower. You just kind of bring it to life. And you've forgotten at that point about what you're good at or not good at. It starts to become this co-creative experience. And
Mm.
here's the key. what you're saying no to when you say no to painting on a symbolic level, and this may be a little over dramatized, but in general, what you're saying no to is not painting at the canvas. You're saying no to your ability to create, which is completely out of alignment with who you are. Right. So like, I don't care if my clients end up painting forever. I want you to be like, paint, I can paint. If I feel this way, I love to go paint. And otherwise I go for a hike or I do yoga or I meditate. That's kind of how I roll. Sometimes the painting is what's going to get laser beam. And this new focus that I have, this new understanding that I was given on my travels this winter, is that when I'm painting, what I'm doing is I'm aligning with this creative frequency. I'm aligning with the frequency of, and imagine you're standing in front of a blank canvas. One, is there any end to the things you could paint on that canvas?
No.
There's not even an end to the shades of color you could paint on that canvas. So if you're feeling stuck, trapped, like I don't have like I want to do all these things, but I'm stuck in this 9 to 5, I don't have any money, blah blah blah, you go to the canvas to tap into the infinite possibility that yes is still available to you, right? So
Yeah.
you go to that canvas to connect to, whether it's the infinite possibility, whether to connect to the present moment, whether to connect to feelings of hope and possibility, which creativity only knows hope and possibility. I've read in a book by Matthew Fox that it's impossible to be depressed and creative at the same time,
Oh, I
right? So
love
you
that.
go to the canvas to tap into that creative frequency. And the thing that I understood afresh this winter was that when you're in that frequency, everything that we want to expand in our lives is in alignment with that frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Abundance, energy, fitness, passion, compassion, inner peace, all of that is in alignment with the creative frequency. So it's easier to expand or magnetize to you more of an energy when you're already in it and feel it, right? So like the opposite would be like, I don't know if any of you still balance a checkbook, surely not, but like just imagine, like we used to balance checks. Well, some people use, I've never balanced a checkbook, but stuff like that. Like if you're in that frequency, and then are going to like brainstorm your next big idea, like no, that's not what you do to get in that mindset, right? You go and you get outside, you get in nature, which is the creative frequency. You get in the present moment, which is the creative frequency. You move your body and dance, that is the creative frequency. You get into that and then call in and just wait to receive the next vision or dream, or which direction do I go. So there's so many things. It's like tip of the iceberg. And the story we've been told since we were little, that only some people are born creative, only some people have this talent. Art is only worth your time if someone would pay you money for it. And even then, you're not going to get good benefits. And it's not a secure way to make a living. And so art has been swept under the rug as something that's good for children and maybe housewives, whatever. Um, and that is not an accident.
No.
It's not taken out of schools because the powers that be, really do want a bunch of independent creative beings out there. And I'm not like, I don't believe in any victims. I believe we're infinite beings. We got nothing but time. We've created this beautiful game of hide and seek, right? I mean, it's just the number of people that have a creative wound is something like 85%.
Wow.
So we very effectively,
Wow. That's
completely disempowered the masses creatively, because it's hard to control and manipulate creative people.
so true. I agree
I
with
mean,
it.
in those World War I, World War II, they put the creatives, the artists, and the intellectuals, and then the people that they didn't agree with on the trains and shipped them to Siberia. They put artists, right? I mean, artists were dangerous. So, this
Like a
is why
witch
we
hunt.
paint.
Well, it's like a witch hunt, and they
Yeah.
start slowly erode. And what you're saying, I completely agree with that. Someone in the creative frequency is harder to control, harder to manipulate. They think outside the box, they think for themselves. So it is a programming. And I didn't
Yeah.
realize 85% of people have that wound.
Mm-hmm. So just realize, and I'm,
That's amazing.
you know, it's funny. This is the first time I've said it this way. I love these interviews because I love what comes out, you know, and I trust your audience is like had the container to hold this. But you know, we're self-perpetrating that when we allow that I'm not creative, I can't even draw a straight line to cut us off from the level of creative power, superpower that you absolutely have. Every single one of you has an immense reservoir of creative potential. And it simply has been like kind of boarded up, like I'm seeing a mine with, you know, the door boarded up. Because, you know, it's not convenient for the Western capitalists. You know, they want you looking outside of yourself and consuming rather than creating. And again, like it's so cool. I think it's so cool how well we've created this like stage, you
Mm.
know, and the characters and the plot. It's brilliant. And right now we're absolutely being called to reclaim that creativity because we have all the solutions we need. Every single answer is there. But the logical linear mind that pulls from the past to project into the future can't get us there, cannot get us where we want to get as a human family. So next time you say no to painting, I'm 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 poking Beth. I'm gonna get Beth painting. That's what you're contributing to, is that frequency. And of course, you know, I know Beth, you're feeding that frequency in so many ways, but um, I've watched people touch the brush to the canvas, literally like at the New York Book Expo. I walked around with a canvas and paint and was like, help me paint this painting. And I remember this one woman, she's like, oh, I don't know, which color? How do I hold the brush? And she touched it to the canvas and she was like, I mean, it was like, oh, I'm about to start crying. It was
Oh,
unreal. That all dissolved. You know, I sat next to a woman in a workshop I was teaching and with painting meditation. And it was just like, I want you all to just lose yourself in the color before we get to anything else. And she was doing it, but she was still kind of looking around and, you know, am I doing it right? And I sat down next to her and I was like, can I play with you on your canvas? And I put the brush in my non-dominant hand and I just kind of went like on her canvas. And I felt her be like, you really mean just play on the canvas. And she went bonkers. And she's one of my creatively fit coaches now. She teaches
oh
meditation
wow.
and yoga and insight timer. She's moved. She's like everything in her life has changed because she reconnected to her creative self and became no longer afraid to lean into the unknown and take steps in new directions, just because that part of her was online now, you know. So it really, trust me, it has nothing to do with the finished product. You don't have to show anyone the finished product. Just like, you know, you might go for a walk or a run or do yoga. You're not trying to make like, you know, become the next YouTube yoga phenom or, you know, join the Olympics, or you're just doing it because it's part of your overall wellness. And as creative beings, we're here to create. So the question is, how do you nurture your creative frequency? And you want to have an answer to that on your spiritual midlife journey of awakening.
And I love that because what you're saying is this basically what you've been saying is this is the medicine to getting out of here and getting in here and bringing in that frequency. And
Mm-hmm.
you said is like you can't be sad or depressed when you're creative. It negates the
Mm-hmm.
energy. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really, really powerful.
Yeah. And the other thing, I'm sure you talk about, you know, the whole like life is a mirror, you know,
Mhm.
your external world is reflecting your internal world. And we all know sometimes the lessons, the redirects can be super inconvenient, you know, like, I mean, I've sprained ankles, broken a wrist, you know, fender benders, all those
Yeah.
things. Like, okay, what am I being called to learn? You can also go to the canvas and with the intention of show me, teach me, help me understand how I can liberate myself even more to be more of who I am and living the life I'm here to live. You go to the canvas, you start painting. It's the mirror. It's the mirror. Things get muddy, you're muddy inside. Things you're tight, you're trying to control too much in your life. So then you can practice. I'm going to practice being wild and free. Or sometimes for me, I practice being detail. Right? That's my,
It's
that's my
like what
edge
you're working
sometimes.
on. Like if if you need
Yeah.
more detail, be detailed. If you need more freedom, be free. And like, what about like even even close your eyes and just
Yeah.
feel
You
in.
want to boost your intuition? Like I've had so many clients over the years, like, okay, Whitney, this one Lisa, call Lisa, sorry, I'm forgetting your name. Anyway, she's like, my intuition is like off the charts right now. Is this a result of painting practice? I'm like, yeah. Yeah,
Focus.
you can be the change you want to be in your life just at the canvas. You can practice being unconditionally loving of yourself. Like, set the timer first for just 5 minutes. I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to doodle with these colors and I'm going to cheer myself on the whole time.
I love that.
I mean, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's tricky.
It's
But then
powerful.
it's like, wow, I'm doing this in my life. Like you might not even realize. Um, so yeah, it's so and it's fun and it's easy and it's cheap. I mean, I don't like it. There's really no reason not to paint.
You're like, you're starting to enroll me because Whitney and I were talking before that I haven't painted in a long time since I was a kid because of a wound, and a story. So yeah, maybe I will get that easel.
Yeah,
And
right. Go out and get an easel. No, no. You can use a pizza box.
okay, it's a
Like
pizza box.
yeah, use a pizza box and get, a set of acrylic paints and just play. No, and I have so many resources. We have 2 free gifts that we're going to
Oh
be
yeah,
offering
tell
of,
us about your
yeah,
gifts.
all my books. And I mean, there's so many ways. Right. So we have your magical creative awareness, which is an awesome, super short, easy program that will help you identify where you do get stuck. We all get stuck. I get stuck. Beth gets stuck. We all get stuck. It'll help you identify kind of what it is that gets you stuck and then offer you a symbol, an image that you can paint that is energetically aligned with a frequency that will help you get back into flow rather than feeling stuck. And it's super low key, super easy, and it'll be very illuminating. So I highly recommend that. And then the summit is happening in a couple days. I'm going to be painting for 24 hours straight online, live streaming. You're welcome to join me. It's free. You go to 24hourpaintjam.com and sign up. We'll send you the Zoom link the night before. And we're doing 12 2-hour painting workshops with myself and 14 of my creatively fit coaches. I'm going to be on the whole time. You can join for 2 hours or 6 or 24. It's an absolute blast. But, I really do that. And I did this originally as kind of a shamanic experience to get myself outside of my normal and really call in that creative frequency while taking myself to new edges of consciousness and tiredness, which can, relax the mind. And it's a pretty incredible experience. So yeah, I highly recommend. Even if you you could pop into the 24-hour paint jam. You don't even have to have paints in the home or just watch,
Amazing.
just watch and feel into it. Because for a lot of us, our experience, like you mentioned, Beth, in art class growing up was not supportive. And it perpetrated this, like, this is how you draw things, this is how you do
Yeah,
things. I have clients
it's how you
who
draw
have
a
art,
street. Yeah,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
even art. I have clients who went to art school, talented art school, and the art school, you got to do it this way, you're not good at that. I mean, it's the weirdest. There's some of the weirdest things that I've heard. I'm so grateful I never went to art school. I mean, I thought about it at one point in my life, but then I was like, well, I can't draw and I can't, well, so I never did it. But it's very available. So yeah, I highly recommend
So the
exploring.
21st, 24-hour paint jam. So here on the page, you can grab that link to sign up, and you can also grab Whitney's other free gift. And I would recommend checking out her books. And as you can tell, just by listening to her, this is her passion. She's really led, you are led by your passion, and it's obvious. So Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Of course, Beth, I love it. And thank you all for who are joining in. If I had to leave you with anything, it's a reminder, actually, that the creative frequency, creativity is a feminine energy. Shakti is creativity. I mean, we birth new life, and this planet is crying out for a rebirth. So, ladies, like it really is up to our consciousness. And of course, we have masculine and the men of the feminine and all that. But if we as women can't take back that creative power and lean into what's possible and guide others, starting with ourselves and our families and our friends into new landscapes, how are we going to expect anyone on this planet, let alone the masculine, the patriarchy, all that? Again, no victims. We're all in this together, but
Warrior.
the balance that's crying out is dependent on the feminine rising. And that's also creativity, nature, the environment, all those things. So thank you for leaning in because we need you.
Absolutely. That's very well said and perfect for the times we're in. So thank you. And thank you for watching. I'm calling them episodes, another episode of Midlife Spiritual Uprising, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye, Whitney.